Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to another video, and this is a paid request for Kingpin. He sent quite a few in. Sorry if it takes a bit to get to them, but thank you for your patience and thank you for your kindness and generosity, man. I really do appreciate it. Hope your Thanksgiving went well. I know this is belated, but I'm trying to record these as fast as I can, so thank you, though. One of the requests was for me to do a versus on these three films: X-Men Origins Wolverine, The Wolverine, and Logan. By the way, if anyone wants to request any type of videos, topics, reactions, movie reviews, re-reviews, video game playthroughs, tier lists, random movie news talk, whatever the case, PayPal's the best way to do it. Do have a Cash App as well. Links are down below, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. So thank you. Obviously, the answer for this would be Logan. Logan being the best one because it is the tone of it. Hugh Jackman I think does good in all three, but this one gave him a bit more meat to the bones in terms of the character. Plus, you finally got to see Wolverine in his R-rated glory. I liked the friendship between him and the little girl. So I think that alone, among other stuff, I think most would say that it has the best story of the three. But if I go through each one, X-Men Origins Wolverine. This is a film I actually saw in the theater. Yes, I saw this in the theater. Actually, I believe with my mom and my sister. And I think my mom liked it. She likes Hugh Jackman and the Wolverine character. I don't think she's really into that stuff anymore. Because I don't think she saw Deadpool Wolverine. I don't think she really liked the Deadpool character. So I'm like, nah, I don't think I'm going to show her that. I think she'd be annoyed by Ryan Reynolds. But did like the... there are elements to X-Men Origins Wolverine I do like. And this don't make people mad. I would put that over The Wolverine. Because The Wolverine I actually put at the bottom of the three. And I'll explain why. Just bear with me. I'll just call it Origins for sake of argument. Origins has a lot of issues. And overall, it's not that good. The problems being the way they handle Wade Wilson later on, where his mouth is gone and he has all these different powers, and it's like, what the fuck? Apparently no one here has read Deadpool, and that fucking catastrophe would be referenced many times in the Deadpool films. Sometimes the special effects, the CGI, especially on the claws, they don't look finished. Or they look too either shiny, or the effects are not on point on a lot of the CG. There's like the bit when he's fighting Gambit and he does that thing with the ladders, like that really looks ridiculous. Gambit I thought was a miscast. I mean, why? I think it's Taylor Kish. They try to make him a star. Battleship, John Carter. Actually, now I gotta double check. Was it Taylor Kish? I want to say it is. See, that's how memorable he was. I need to double check. Sorry. Yes, it is. Savages. That was an awful film. John Carter. Again, I don't know why. Like, they tried to make him a star. It didn't work. It fucked up. And hell, Channing Tatum, I will give credit. Channing Tatum, I thought, did a good job as Gambit in Deadpool and Wolverine. I did. Which is interesting this is not on the list. But maybe, for just three, solo Wolverine films, it makes sense. But Yeah, Taylor Kitsch was an awful Gambit, terribly miscast. Gambit was just kind of thrown in there. He didn't need to be in the film. He's kind of just there for a little crappy fight, get him to a location, then he pisses off till at like the very end he comes back, and that's it. Like Gambit for the most part was useless in this movie. They just put him in there to help. Hey, go watch this film because now we got Gambit in here. And it's like, yeah, but it's shitty and badly miscast. And it didn't feel like it had. It didn't feel like it had many action scenes, and it should have been this brutal, savage, gory movie to make that your first impact as a solo Wolverine film. We separate ourselves from the X-Men movies. Wolverine deserves to be R-rated. I'll give Logan and X-Men Origins Wolverine, Logan and Deadpool Wolverine that credit. They are R-rated. I know The Wolverine has an unrated cut. Honestly, it didn't do much for me, at least for me. But so there's a lot of issues with that Origins movie. Sorry, made me stutter. Stutter. But there are some cool moments. I think the opening, going through all the timeline wars that Logan and Sabretooth, I'll just call them that, go through, I like. I think that's a really neat way to showcase the history of these two characters. And just how much staging and planning that went into for such a short opening sequence. Because you gotta like fit all these people with different uniforms and different environments, and it probably took a long time just to film that, but I appreciate that ambition. So that's a one plus. Liev Schreiber. I like Liev Schreiber as Sabretooth. Some don't, they prefer Tyler Mane, but Sabretooth was not a dumb animal. He was this. I think Liev Schreiber made him more interesting personality wise. Again, I think he was a better actor. I think he was a better. Again, his Sabretooth is more interesting to me compared to Tyler Mane. Tyler Mane, I don't mind the first X-Men movie. He worked for what he needed. Like, Tyler Mane definitely seemed more intimidating. I'll give you that. But Sabretooth, I just found Liev Schreiber to get more interesting of a character. Because he was an actual character. He was an actual character. He had actual, dialogue. and Liev Schreiber's a good actor. Wade Wilson, early in the movie, I thought he did fine. Because he has humor, but it's not like every 5 seconds. So he does have that sense of humor. You say it's toned down, but I think it's... Sometimes Deadpool once in a while is like, shut the fuck up, dude. But here, it's there enough to be funny, but not get tiresome. It's just later on they really fucked him up. But I think the early Wade Wilson stuff is not bad at all. There are a couple action beats I don't mind. I don't mind the bit with the helicopter, where he fucks up the vehicle, he flies up and gets to the chopper. I don't mind that scene. I think it's a decently entertaining, over-the-top moment for the movie. I don't mind the bit where he's fighting the Blob. He says, "Bub, you call me Blob?" No. And the little tussle they have in the ring, that was kind of fun. And then to see how Wolverine takes the guy out. Just it's a short little fun scene. I didn't mind the way it was choreographed. I like the suit they gave to the guy. I forget the actor's name. I've seen him in other stuff. Who plays the Blob. I didn't mind the interpretation of the character. And if you had a different director, because I don't think Gavin Hood was the right director. If you had a different director and polish the script up, don't fuck up Wade Wilson like that, and like instead of Gambit, have it be Wade Wilson. Something happens, and then the next time you see him is Deadpool. And he's like, what? Wade? And then Deadpool is helping. Like, Deadpool and him get into a fight, and then Deadpool can use his, and then ultimately helps him. Ah, fuck it. It's in the script. Whatever. Like, replace Gambit with Wade Wilson as Deadpool. And then maybe you show, like, a flashback to what happened, and you'd even make him, like, Deadpool in the flashbacks leaning over and messing with stuff during the flashback. And you'll do that meta humor you would see later in the Deadpool movies. I think that would have actually been pretty cool. That's just me, though. But it does have its issues. And also, one important thing that I put this above the Wolverine. Without this movie, I have it over there, we would not have gotten an awesome fucking game. And that's X-Men Origins Wolverine for PlayStation 3. Just the fact that because this movie exists, we have an awesome game. Because X-Men Origins Wolverine is an awesome game. I love that game. That was such a fun game to play. How I'd play that again right now if I could. I hope one day they remaster the game. I know that sometimes, I forget the company, they remaster older games, but to be fair, they don't really remaster these type of games. It's more like really old, like Doom, Mortal Kombat games at times. But it'd be cool if they did one for this, because this. But it's a Wolverine is a character owned now by Disney, so you're definitely not going to get it. But that is a great game. I love X-Men Origins Wolverine. It's fantastic. So, yeah, Detroit Trace do. Without the movie, you wouldn't have that awesome game, and that alone puts it above the Wolverine. Because Wolverine just gave me an itch on my ass that I couldn't scratch. The Wolverine of those three, to me, is the most fucking forgettable of the three. The most fucking forgettable. I literally had to look up clips of this film to remember what the fuck happened in it. And it's, I would say, the most disappointing of the three, because you have a second shot. You did James Mangold, who did Logan after. Not right after this, but later on. James Mangold had done Copland. I love Copland. I think that's a great Stallone movie. With Ray Liotta, rest in peace to him, Robert De Niro, Harvey Keitel, and many more. You now know what didn't work in the first one. And you still made it fucking PG-13. The unrated cut didn't do much for me. It's Wolverine fighting ninjas, and they made it fucking boring, and they tried to make it a character study, but the character study was not up to snuff, and they did that much better in Logan as a character study. And it's like, okay, it wants to be this goofy action film, but then it wants to be this serious character study, and it doesn't do neither one that well. How I would say Origins is more fun in that goofy action way, and then Logan's better as a character study way. So this, like, it doesn't have an identity. And I think it's the weakest story. Like, the origin of Wolverine is an interesting concept, interesting story. It's just not done as well as it should have been. Logan, interesting concept. I wish they would have had this when Disney... I wish they were able to allow the characters that were in the comic. Because it would have been a crazier than fuck movie. But It's such a unique direction for the franchise and the serious, bitter movie that it felt refreshing because of that. Although I have a big caveat with that, which I'll get to. But the Wolverine, it's like, is alive or is it Memorex? It's neither. At least to me. Yeah, the story just feels the weakest. This guy he saved is sick, so I need you to make me not sick. And then I could also make you mortal. And then most of the rest of the film is Logan being not as top tier as he can and being vulnerable, so he can't really do all the crazy things he's able to do. So that limits him to an extent. Because that was the thing they did from time to time, superheroes, like Spider-Man 2. How about he loses his powers? Superman 2. How about Superman gets rid of his powers? It's a trope that honestly I'm not big on. I think maybe if he did, well, I guess technically with Wolverine, with his solo films, and they got to like a part 4, 5, maybe, but for the second solo film, I didn't want to see that for the second Superman movie or the second Spider-Man movie or the second Wolverine movie. That's just me. And then you have like that wannabe Poison Ivy bitch, lame as fuck, campy as shit. Silver Samurai was fucking stupid as shit, tall as fuck, looking like a goddamn wannabe Transformer. Not the best CGI, fighting Logan. It just looked like crap. And it wasn't even the fucking Silver Samurai, at least not the way most people interpreted it in comics. So I don't know why the fuck had to be the goddamn Transformer or what the fuck. Goddamn giant. Waiting for Godzilla to come out to fight it. Goddamn kaiju. The lady, I forget her fucking name. She was forgettable and she wasn't that good of an actress. I understand she couldn't handle the English language as good as possible. But man, it did affect her acting. She may be a good actress if she could do her natural dialect, but when she's trying to struggle for the English language, sadly it does affect her performance. Sometimes that happens with people. You say it's not her fault. She got the opportunity. Do the best that you can, but sometimes that can hurt you. And all I remember is there's a bit on a train which really iffy looking CG everywhere, above, around them, which just took me out of the whole scene because I'm looking more at all the CG than what's happening. And usually like Wolverine just killing ninjas, and they don't really do that. Do you imagine a scene like the Raid Redemption hallway scene, but it's Wolverine with his claws going down the hallway, boom, right up, right under the chin, right in the chest, moving, cuts this guy's arm off, then cuts this guy's leg off, and there, hits this guy and does, do the moves like in the X-Men or the Origins Wolverine game. People would fucking go wild and crazy, and they didn't go there at all. Not even close. There are a few moments that he does get a little bit of the action in, to be fair. But not nearly enough, and just not as memorable enough as it should have been. That's why, to me, nobody talks about this fucking film. Think about it. How many times do people reference The Wolverine? I've heard people reference more Origins than The Wolverine. You may like this more. I'd rather watch Origins, honestly. But Origins of the Wolverine, neither one are movies I like, but the Wolverine I find even more forgettable. And because of what they could have learned, and they didn't learn enough lessons, and they made new mistakes, this was the most disappointing of the three. Logan, I appreciate the serious tone. I appreciate the depth of the character work they were dealing with. The friendship he has with the little girl X 20, 23. I don't know why I always forget that moniker. Patrick Stewart does a good job. But it's so goddamn depressing of a movie that you just feel like shit for 2 hours that I never care to rewatch the film. I get it. That's the direction of the story, and it's very a tragic story. I wish they didn't kill him off at the end. And even then, I thought, man, the way they did was just not satisfying. Because, okay, he's got the moment, killing all these bad guys, but then he's like, does it have to be his clone? Why has it gotta be his clone? Wouldn't it make sense to be Sabretooth? The final knockdown battle? Winner take all? But even then, he doesn't even defeat his clone. The girl had to, with the fucking bullet. So he gets impaled, he can't do anything, and she has to save him. This is his dying moment. He can't even get the final kill. He can't even get the final hoorah. He can't, really? Yeah, give it to her, because she'll be the... I hated that shit. I hated the way Xavier went out. That was fucking depressing. On purpose. Again, it's just such a fucking depressing movie that I feel like I went to a fucking funeral. I'm at a wake. And it's like, it's just not a film I do like it. I think for the most part it's a pretty good, well-made movie. I just never care to revisit. Unless there's a request. But if it was a request, a paid request, sure. Other than that, and so that's why probably, despite all my issues with the film, I probably would say I like Deadpool and Wolverine the most. Because while I do have those issues, I have a lot of issues with that film. The banter between Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds are good. Him being in the suit was cool. There's just a lot of issues I have. To me, each of these films have problems in different ways. Deadpool and Wolverine, I've talked about that in my review, but Logan, the tone war is just... This is why when they were going to do that last Ronin movie, that Ninja Turtle one, I'm like, I don't want to see that movie. I get that the comic is well received, but I don't want to see a depressing, dark as fuck gold... Especially, like, Wolverine I liked as a character. The Ninja Turtles are my favorite characters. I don't want to go see a movie that's a fucking funeral. I want the Raid Redemption with Ninja Turtles. Or the Raid Redemption with fucking Wolverine. Or the fucking X-Men... The X-Men Origins game? I want that game a movie. Well, it is. No, not really. Not. If it was like if the game was like the movie, it'd be an awesome fucking movie. So there you go. X-Men Origins Wolverine the game, for me, is the best Wolverine movie there is. And I know there's a new game coming out. It's too bad they're not getting Hugh Jackman to voice him, because that'd be pretty cool. But I don't know who they're getting to voice him. Man, that's the shame. That'd be awesome. But yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, X-Men Origins Wolverine, the game, is the best Wolverine movie. With these, it's Logan, then Origins, then the Wolverine. That's just the way I look at it. So take that for you will. Thanks for watching. Take care. And we will see you in the next video. Bye bye for now.